The tragedy and grief over the Hamas murders of 6 hostages in Gaza tops the week in review. Last week, there was hope that a ceasefire deal was in the making to release some hostages held since the October 7th massacre in Israel. But hope turned to misery last weekend when 6 hostages were discovered shot to death. Rage has swept Israel, much of it directed at its own leader, who protesters say dragged his feet and blocked the deal. Massive protests erupted this week in Israel. Heartbreak, anguish, and anger over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's failure to make a hostage release deal. Unprecedented numbers of anti-Netanyahu protesters poured into the streets across the country, demanding he do more. That as the country remains in shock over the murder of the 6 hostages, including Hersh Goldberg-Polin, whose parents' urgent cries for a hostage release have been heard around the world. We last saw the parents of Israeli-American hostage Hersh Goldberg-Polin about 2 weeks ago at the National Democratic Convention.
Hersh, if you can hear us, we love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Bring them home.
At this moment, no one could be sure, but we now know their only son, held captive at that point for 320 days, was still alive. Sadly, this past weekend, the crushing news arrived that Israeli soldiers found his body and those of 5 other hostages in a tunnel beneath the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. Autopsies reveal all 6 were executed at point-blank range just 2 to 3 days before. 5 of them were taken from an Israeli music festival on October 7th, where hundreds were killed and dozens more kidnapped. The 6th was captured from a nearby farming community. 3 in this hostage group were scheduled to be released during the first phase of an eventual ceasefire agreement, including Hersh Goldberg-Polin. According to a first-hand account by a friend who escaped, Hersh had been badly wounded, his arm blown off from the elbow down when he rushed to throw a grenade lobbed at them by militants out of a bunker where they were sheltering. Because of his parents' many brave and eloquent pleas for the hostages released, they met with Pope Francis, addressed the United Nations, and went to the White House. Hersh's story had captured the world's attention. On their shirts, his parents were the number of days he and others had been held captive.
Every single day until these people come home, I'm going to be wearing what day it is. So this is my new fashion statement.
We're living on another planet, so I don't know that we comprehend time the way that you do or normal people.
Thousands of people attended Hersh's funeral on Monday in Jerusalem.
Finally, my sweet boy, finally you're free. I will love you and I will miss you every single day for the rest of my life.
Along with masses of protesting Israelis, upset that more has not been done to free the hostages. Former U.S. Defense Secretary William Cohen blames Prime Minister Netanyahu for a failure to prioritize the hostages' release.
Oh, it's very frustrating. We all can feel the rage, the sadness, the grief of the Israelis who have lost their family and friends. But it doesn't seem that their protests are going to prove productive in the sense of changing anything that Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to do.
What has been Netanyahu's reluctance to prioritize the hostage release? What is the way forward now? To help us answer that question and many more aspects of these tragic developments in the Israeli-Hamas conflict, we are joined by Nathan Diament. Nathan is the Executive Director of Public Policy for the Union of Orthodox Jewish Congregations of America, the nation's largest Orthodox Jewish umbrella organization. Nathan, thank you for being here. I first want to give you the opportunity to react to the devastating news that 6 Israeli hostages were found murdered in Gaza just days ago.
Thank you. It's I'm not quite sure whether to say it's a pleasure to be with you, because this is a terrible circumstance to be speaking with you. The entire Jewish community, not just the United States and Israel, but globally, has been, on the edge since October 7th of last year. Both, still grappling with those who were killed on that day, those who were kidnapped on that day. And there's been constant and persistent advocacy by our organization and by, again, Jews across the country and the world to try to save these hostages. And when we all learned after, on Sunday after the Sabbath went out of the execution of Hersh and the other 5, it was really a devastating blow, because many of us had met, and I met Hersh's parents, Rachel and John, when I was in Israel just a week and a half after October 7th, and have been, in touch with them since, and trying to help with the advocacy since. And so it's been really tough.
And like you said, it does feel like the world is on edge right now. Following the murder of the hostages, the chief rabbi of the United Hebrew Congregations of the Commonwealth slammed Britain's decision to partially suspend its arms licenses to Israel amid the war. He said in part, quote, "As Israel faces down the threat of Iran and its proxies, not just to its own people, but to all of us in the democratic West, this announcement feeds the falsehood that Israel is in breach of international humanitarian law, when in fact, it is going to extraordinary lengths to uphold it." Nathan, how significant is that statement from the chief rabbi?
The chief rabbi in England doesn't typically get into the middle of politics in general, and doesn't typically criticize the British government. So it is pretty remarkable. He's really a religious leader of that community, and but it was shocking. I have family that lives in England, and I know it was shocking to them, not only in terms of the decision itself, but the timing was just unbelievable.
As we've been reporting, large protests continue in Israel as the country reels from the murders of these 6 hostages. Hostage families have released angry public statements accusing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of blocking a deal, potentially sacrificing their loved ones for the sake of holding a strip of land along the Gaza-Egyptian border. Nathan, in your opinion, should Netanyahu be doing more now to free the remaining hostages?
It's hard for me to assess that question. What is clear is that, first of all, I don't think any of us are in a position to second guess or question what the families of the hostage members are saying. It's unimaginable to put ourselves in their shoes, and I'm not going to second guess whatever they are saying about the government or anybody or anything else. They just want to get their loved ones home. There is a very open and public debate between the Prime Minister and his Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, over this very question. And the Prime Minister just gave a press conference earlier this week in which he laid out basically saying getting the hostages out are, of course, a priority for him, but he has to balance that with the priority of making sure that Hamas cannot repeat such an attack, and he's saying that having the Israeli Defense Forces in the border area between Gaza and Egypt is crucial to that, because that's how Hamas smuggled in all their weapons to perpetrate October 7th in the first place. The defense minister and other senior leaders in the Israeli military establishment are saying, let's agree to pull out from that area, that border area. Let's get the hostages out. And if we have to go back in, we'll go back in. And that's basically the debate that's going on very publicly among the Israeli leadership.
Nathan, this weekend marks 11 months since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Is there more action you want to see from the Biden-Harris administration at this point? And have you been in communication with the Biden administration?
We have been and are in regular communication with the Biden administration. Look, people, again, have to take a step back and remember that the party that started this war, the party that perpetrated these war crimes, the party that's holding these hostages is Hamas. And whatever criticism people want to level against the Israeli prime minister or the Israeli military, the Israeli government, they should be leveling that criticism at Hamas and at the sponsors of Hamas, who are Iran, Qatar, and other extreme players in the Middle East region. And more pressure needs to be brought to bear upon Hamas, if that's possible, to get them to release the hostages. No democratic country would stand for what happened on October 7th being able to happen again. And Israel, Israeli society as a whole is not willing to go back to what the status quo before October 7th was, which is, Hamas is still sitting in Gaza and they can smuggle in weapons and maybe they can attack us again. That's not what Israel is willing to return to.
We so appreciate your insight and your time. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Sure.